She knows. Let's not pretend otherwise. You poured your heart into those texts. Maybe you even laid it all out in some raw, vulnerable moment, thinking honesty would bridge the gap between you. But here's the hard truth. She saw it. She absorbed every word, every plea, every unspoken hope tangled in those messages, and still, she stepped back. That's not confusion. That's a choice. When someone wants you, they move toward you. It's that simple. They find reasons to talk, to meet, to stay in your orbit. They don't leave you deciphering mixed signals or clinging to breadcrumbs of attention. So ask yourself, what are you really doing when you draft another message? You're not reminding her of your feelings she already knows. You're not sparking some realization she missed she didn't. You're bargaining with reality, hoping this time, the outcome will magically change. But it won't, because the issue was never her understanding. It was her willingness to meet you where you stood, and that's the sting, isn't it? You showed up, you were clear, you offered something real, and instead of stepping forward, she stepped away. Every text you send now is a denial of that truth. It's you refusing to accept that she looked at what you offered and chose distance anyway. That's not a reflection of your worth, it's a reflection of her capacity to hold it. But the longer you linger in this space of hoping, the more you chip away at your own self-respect. You start morphing into someone you don't recognize, the guy who double texts, who rationalizes her silence, who twists himself into knots trying to be heard by someone who's already decided not to listen. Here's what you need to sear into your mind. Closure doesn't come from her, it comes from you. From the moment you stop seeking answers in her responses, or lack thereof, and start finding them in her actions. She didn't just drift away by accident. She made micro-choices, delayed replies, vague plans, that growing void where effort used to be. Those weren't oversights, they were answers. And your job now isn't to send another message into that void. It's to turn around, walk toward your own life, and rebuild the parts of you that got lost in the waiting. This isn't about blame, it's about agency. She gets to choose, son, so do you. Choose to stop handing your power to someone who's shown you where they stand. Choose to stop begging for a connection that only ever flows one way. The first step isn't moving on, it's waking up. Waking up to the fact that you've been hurting yourself more by clinging than you ever would by letting go. And once you see that, really see it, you'll realize, the person you've been waiting for isn't her. It's the version of you that's strong enough to walk. That one last text you're drafting in your head right now, it's not about closure, it's about fear. Fear of the silence that follows, the void where her voice used to be. You tell yourself you just need to say this final thing, to leave things on better terms, to get the last word, but deep down, you're terrified of what happens if she doesn't reply. Because that silence isn't just an absence of sound, it's a confirmation. It's the undeniable proof that she's really gone, that the story you've been telling yourself is over. And that's why you keep typing, keep deleting, keep rewriting, because as long as you're still crafting that message, the ending hasn't been written yet. But here's what you're not seeing. Every time you hit send, you're not moving forward, just delaying the inevitable. You're putting off the moment when you finally have to face the truth that she's not coming back, that no combination of words will change her mind, that the person you're really trying to convince isn't her, but yourself. You're bargaining with reality, hoping that if you just find the right phrase, the perfect tone, you can undo what's already been done. But you can't, because this isn't a misunderstanding. It's not a puzzle to solve. It's a choice she made, and no amount of your words will rewrite it. The pain you're trying to avoid by sending that text, that's where the growth happens. That ache in your chest when you force yourself not to reach out, when you sit with the emptiness instead of filling it with another futile message, that's where you start to change. Every time you resist the urge to text, you're not just proving something to her. You're proving something to yourself. That you're stronger than your impulses. That your worth isn't tied to her responses. That you can survive the silence. This is the hard part. This is where boys become men, not by chasing what's already gone, but by facing the void and learning to stand in it. The version of you that needs her, that version has to die. And it will hurt. But on the other side of that pain is someone who doesn't measure his value by the attention of a woman who walked away. Someone who knows that real strength isn't in the sending, but in the stopping. So put the phone down. Walk away. Let the silence do its work. The man you're becoming is waiting on the other side. Every time you text her first, you're not just sending words, you're sending power. You're handing over the reins to someone who's already shown she doesn't value the ride. Think about it. When was the last time she reached out unprompted? When did she last make the effort to bridge the gap between you? That imbalance isn't accidental. It's information. Each unsolicited message you send reinforces the dynamic that you're the pursuer, the placeholder, the option, not the priority. This isn't about playing games. It's about recognizing basic human psychology. People don't treasure what's always available. The reason you're stuck in this cycle isn't because she doesn't understand your worth. It's because you've made yourself too easy to ignore. Your constant availability has removed any need for her to wonder, to miss you, to question what you're doing when you're not texting her. You've become predictable, and predictability is the enemy of attraction. Real value isn't declared, it's demonstrated. It's in the way you withhold your energy from those who don't reciprocate it. Every time you resist the urge to text, you're not being petty or recalibrating the scales. You're teaching her, and more importantly, yourself, that your attention isn't a given, it's a privilege. The moment you internalize that truth is the moment everything changes. Not because she suddenly come running back, but because you'll finally understand your own worth isn't determined by someone else's willingness to acknowledge it. Put the phone down. Let silence be your teacher. The right people don't need constant convincing, they show up. And those who don't, they reveal everything you need to know by their absence. Here's the brutal truth you keep avoiding. If she wanted to, she would. No exceptions, no excuses. You wouldn't be sitting here analyzing her mixed signals or clinging to those rare moments when she throws you a crumb of attention. When a woman is truly into you, she moves mountains to be in your orbit. She initiates, she plans, she makes sure you never doubt where you stand. Anything less isn't confusion, it's a choice. Stop romanticizing potential. That version of her you keep imagining, the one who suddenly wakes up and realizes what she's missing doesn't exist. The real her is showing you exactly who she is through every delayed reply, every canceled plan, every half-hearted response. Believe her. The right woman doesn't make you beg for basic decency. She doesn't keep you guessing where you stand. She certainly doesn't watch you pour your heart out while offering vague non-answers in return. This isn't about being bitter, it's about being awake. Every minute you spend waiting for her to change is a minute stolen from your own growth. That energy you're wasting on someone who's made her disinterest clear. Redirect it toward becoming the kind of man the right woman would fight to keep. Not with words, but with actions. Not with promises, but with presence. The hardest lesson is realizing the person you're holding onto exists only in your head while the real woman has already walked away. Let her, your future self will thank you for it. Your silence isn't petty revenge, it's the ultimate power move. Every time you resist the urge to text, you're not losing her. You're rediscovering yourself. That gnawing emptiness you feel when you don't reach out, that's the sound of old dependencies breaking. The anxiety that screams at you to break no contact, that's your ego thrashing against its cage, terrified of becoming irrelevant. But here's the secret. Real transformation begins where your comfort zone ends. This isn't about making her miss you, it's about making you respect yourself. When you stop feeding her ego with your attention, two things happen simultaneously. She loses the security of your validation, and you regain ownership of your energy. The moment you truly internalize that your presence is a privilege, not a right, everything shifts. Not because she suddenly sees your worth, but because you've stopped waiting for her to validate it. The high road isn't paved with dramatic exits or passive-aggressive silence. It's built through quiet, unshakable self-possession. Every unread message, every unreturned call becomes a brick in the foundation of the man you're becoming. This isn't a strategy to win her back. It's the process of winning yourself forward. The man who needs no external validation is the man who becomes impossible to ignore, not because he demands attention, but because he radiates the kind of grounded certainty that can only come from having faced the fire of rejection and emerged. Tempered by it, let this silence be your forge. The version of you that needed her approval is burning away, leaving only what's real. A man who knows his worth isn't negotiable. That's not just strength, that's freedom.